tampering with some of these witnesses and victims before his trial started underneath the RICO charge. And the crazy thing is, what if I tell you that this same past behavior was alleged in Diddy's last criminal trial in the 1999 nightclub incident with J-Lo? They were alleging back in 1999, during that nightclub incident, that Diddy was using his entourage to help mess with these witnesses. The one being named was Diddy's bodyguard, Uncle Paulie, who we keep hearing brought up in the current trial as a co-conspirator for a lot of different things that Diddy allegedly has done. And y'all know I'm about to break it all down, so let's get into it. This is the indictment for Diddy's current criminal charge, and as you can see under here, it says that he is being charged with multiple of tampering with a witness, victim, or an informant. This is separate from the charge of bribery of a witness that we can assume is when Diddy allegedly paid the hotel security $100,000 to make the video of him feeding Cassie disappear. And this is another part in the indictment where it starts dealing some of the intimidation or bribery of a witness. When Diddy's authority or reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023, following public allegations of Combs' crimes, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew to law enforcement. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates of the enterprise, among other things, provided these victims and witnesses with false narratives of events in effort to
Yo, what you need? Yeah, player. We'll get it to you.
On at least 2 occasions. Do you think this new development will lead anywhere?
He's not breaking his silence and exposing who really DMX, who really silenced DMX, right? This is sad. This is horrible. You know, this is about as unfortunate as it gets to see one of the greats taken away from us because he didn't want to promote their agenda. He didn't want to promote something that would destroy his own community, right? He wanted to promote integrity, right? And values, moral values in the community. This is what DMX wanted to promote. Right? Now, I'm not saying he was a perfect person. I'm not saying he didn't have his own issues. This is not.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, and thank you so much for stopping by. Today, what I have for you guys is all of the biggest and most major changes that Rockstar brought to the game with their weekly update for GTA. And with new DLC updates that come to GTA Online, Rockstar typically likes to introduce the new weekly update changes when that DLC goes live. So DLCs go live on a Tuesday, we get the weekly update changes on that Tuesday. The typical day for weekly updates is Thursday, as you guys all know, and that's why I'm posting this video today. In the past with previous DLCs, I've done it on Tuesdays with the new DLC, or on Wednesdays, but it seems like everyone's just hyped for the new content. No one really clicks on this type of video, so I've given it a try on Thursday when people typically expect the weekly update to go live. So we're going to talk about the biggest and most major changes that Rockstar brought to the game this week. Check out some of the money bonuses, the discounts, the rare and removed vehicles. Rockstar did bring back a bunch of them permanently for purchase on in-game websites, so there's not that many to talk about, but we're just going to go through all the in-game vendors and things like that. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning back in, and let's get started. Now here we are at the car wash, because we have to talk about some money bonuses for the week. And for this particular week, we do have, we have double money and double RP in the overtime rumble. Somebody will just talk about that. It's the least important one for this week. So if you want to talk about that, overtime rumble is paying out double money and double RP. If you have no sort of business, you could grind this for some extra money. We have some more remake packs, so if you have some friends to play this with, even though it's not on bonus, this is definitely a fun adversary mode. It's probably my favorite adversary mode in the game. But the actual double money and double RP opportunity we have for this week is the money laundering missions for each one of your businesses, whether it's the car wash, the Higgins helicopter tours, or, of course, the smoke shop. And With double money and double RP, when you do the money laundering missions, you're making $70,000 per mission. Normally, when it's single money next week, it'll be $35,000. But as of right now, GTA Plus, if you're a subscribing member of that, you're getting 4 times payouts because the GTA Plus bonus is also double money on these missions throughout the whole month. So those players are making $140,000 per mission this week, $70,000 for the rest of the month, whereas the rest of the normal player base that doesn't subscribe to GTA Plus will make $70,000 with the money laundering missions this week while it's double money, $35,000 single money. As you can see, we have money that I got to get from the wall safe because all my businesses have approved here, and it's time to open this up and collect some of my revenue. And I also need to do car wash to get that level down as soon as well. This video isn't going to be a money guide, but I will have a money guide out specifically on the car wash DLC business very, very soon, and it goes into all the details, and it will answer all the questions you guys have on your work earnings, the safe, the heat meter, how to run these businesses. Is the helicopter business and the smoke shop worth it? Is the car wash worth it? Etc., etc. I will answer all the questions in that official money guide coming out soon. Now, when it comes to our major property and vehicle discounts for the week, all of these businesses are going to be 30% off. So the auto shops that you can find on Mesa, these are going to be 30%
Hey,
off.
friend, it's Madrazo.
The access to the LS Tuners update contract robberies, the discounts that you get on modifying vehicles here, all of that good stuff. The bail office is also going to be 30% off, and so you can pick up this. I still like doing the most wanted target once a day for that easy $125,000, $130,000 right there. That's going to give you, $30,000 throughout the course of the year. Just normally putting 60
Hey, partner.
most wanted targets throughout the full calendar year. So it's not
All right, shit, SUV on the way.
Money per minute basis or money per hour basis. Obviously, you can't farm this over and over and over like you can with the Dr. Dre contract, but when you actually do bail office money, you do the most wanted target for $125,000. Takes you about 10 minutes to do. You can collect an extra $5,000 from getting, the bonus pictures done during that, and if you send your bail agents out and stuff, you can make up to $140,000 for just you clicks of a button right there for one mission and sending 2 bail agents out. That's all in all 60 hours worth of work at most one targets throughout the year for $45 million. That averages out to $1 million every single hour and a half or so, which is on pace with the Dr. Dre contract. Obviously, players will be a little bit faster with that now because you can skip the cutscenes, but you get the point right there. The Counterfeit Cash Factory as well is MC business, so you're not going to see it on this thing. This is 30% off as well. And the agency, if we head on over to Dynasty 8 Executive Realty, you can find the agency properties in the game also for 30% off. One more property that you can get on discount is the Garment Factory as well. This is also 30% off. I almost forgot to mention this. This is also worth the purchase. You can make about $450,000 an hour in this business. The auto shop is about $400,000 an hour, just exclusively focusing on these businesses, running them, etc. Bail office is way less, but it's worth it for that most wanted target. Like I said, don't worry about only exclusively running that business because it's bad for that purpose. They should be supplementing the vehicles. Now jumping into all of our vehicle discounts, these are all going to be 40% off right here, so we're just going to go down the list and talk about everything. The Uber Montano that you can get here on sale for $1,128,000 featured right here. Next up, the Overflow Hornet is on sale right here. You can get this for $1,299,000 right here. So not that bad at all. It is a removed vehicle that was featured back now for purchase on in-game websites right there. So that's pretty sweet that Rockstar brought it back. It's no longer rare and removed in that sense anymore. We have the Overflood Tyrant featured here. This is on sale for $1.5 million. Of course, you can see it on the website. Not a removed vehicle. Same with the Overflood Entity XXR. You can purchase this for $1,383,000 this week. The True Body Adder, we haven't seen this on discount in a while. This is an OG supercar. You get it for 40% off, $600,000 right here. The Lampadati Cincadilla that released with the agency contract, Dr. Dre, is for over $1 million, $1.044 million to be exact. The Canis Free Crawler you can get for $358,000 on discount. The Karen Previan Ellis Sinners vehicle you can get for $894,000 or $670,000 on discount trade price. The Bravado Gauntlet Hellfire, absolutely worth the purchase. You can get this for $447,000, or you can get the Uber Mods Island Classic on 77 Dre Super Autos for $487,200 while it's on discount, 40% off this week. And then the Night Shark, the HBY Night Shark, is on discount. You can get this for $747,000. Still to this day, it's a top 10 armored vehicle in the game. It's one of the best vehicles solo players could use. it's still just absolutely great to use this in an invite-only session, public session, especially in a public session. Definitely worth a pickup if you have not purchased it already. Here we are, also at the LS Car Meet, but checking out some of the test drive vehicles you can unlock. Some of these are rare and removed vehicles, and some aren't. And obviously, Rockstar has changed up a bunch of stuff recently with this, just because of the fact that they've started to feature back rare and removed vehicles that were previously removed with San Andreas Mercenaries. Then they brought them back in Game Book Sense. We're going to talk about them specifically here at the LS Car Meet and the test drive vehicles, though all of these are removed from the game still as of the current moment. So first up here, we have the Vapid Riata. Not my favorite livery applied here with the purple paint color in the background. This is a very odd choice. We went with like a red or a white on the Riata with, the American flag livery and the Republican Space Rangers or something like that. It would look kind of cool. Obviously, you can change it, whatever. The Vapid Riata, though, you can purchase this for $380,000. Super highly worth it. It's an amazing off-roader. It may spin out a little bit on the street if you're not careful. Obviously, it's going to handle like a big bulky truck. The steering geometry is strange, maybe a little bit vague and unpredictable, but the ground clearance is amazing. Obviously, off-road, this thing is an absolute beast. It's definitely like a top 10 off-roader in the game. Highly recommend it. I mean, look at the massive coilover suspension we got here. That is insane on this truck. Next up, here is a bike, and it is the Dinka Enduro. Pretty cool off-roader right here. It's not like the Sanchez or the Manchez Scout. In fact, you actually can't use this in off-road races. It is going to cost you $48,000. If you want like an older Honda XR250, this would be the way to go. And obviously in yellow, it actually looks pretty good here. I'd probably change it to red like I have mine in my motorcycle clubhouse, but definitely worth picking up if you want because it's not super expensive. Next up, the Western Cliffhanger. This is a really cool trial bike in a sense, I guess you would consider it. It's got the knobby off-road tires, but I don't even know if it's like a trial bike or what you would consider this, but it is going to run you $225,000 if you want to pick it up. It's good as well. This is definitely a bike that's worth buying. Handles great off-road, super fast, good handling, and can definitely handle like jumps and all that type of stuff. I feel like as bikes,
The focus of multiple investigations, including the SIU investigation.
They thought they were opening the vault of music history. What they found was way worse than anyone expected. After the death of the notorious B.I.G.'s mother, Roletta Wallace, Biggie's estate was finally unsealed. But instead of just unreleased tracks or old contracts, investigators uncovered a legacy twisted by silence, secrecy, and betrayal. By him accusing people of it, he kind of set things off. For decades, fans believed his family was in control. Now, the truth is coming out. And it's changing everything we thought we knew about Biggie Smalls. The hidden hand behind the legacy. Christopher Wallace was more than just a name in hip-hop, and what they eventually found in his estate proved the aftermath of his death was way worse than anyone ever thought. Known as the notorious Biggie Smalls, he was a powerful storyteller whose music captured the gritty reality of Brooklyn and left a lasting mark on the genre. His sudden death in 1997 wasn't only the loss of a rising star, it was the silencing of a voice that defined a generation. Behind the music, Biggie's estate was enormous. Millions in royalties, publishing rights, and branding deals. A cultural legacy with unmatched value. His mother, Roletta Wallace, became the vigilant guardian of this legacy. Fierce and determined, she worked tirelessly to protect her son's name from exploitation, personally overseeing decisions. Her goal wasn't profit, it was preserving Biggie's dignity and keeping his story real. Roletta's strength was rooted in struggle, shaped by years of hardship before Biggie rose to fame. She understood the importance of preserving her son's dignity amid a music industry often driven by profit over principle. Navigating complex legal battles and business negotiations, she was relentless in maintaining control over the estate, guarding it against opportunists and conflicts that could tarnish Biggie's legacy. Her commitment extended beyond finance. Valletta fought to keep the true spirit of Biggie alive,
My son Steve will be the first to tell you I write what I see.
making sure his story was told with respect and authenticity. Through her vigilance, the voice of one of hip hop's greatest icons continues to resonate, inspiring new generations while honoring the man behind the music. And for years, it seemed she succeeded. But what they found in Biggie's estate years later told a much different story. Because even as Valletta stood guard, something else was unfolding. Behind the scenes, a complex web of business arrangements, legal structures, and financial maneuvers was putting the estate in the hands of outsiders, largely unknown to the public and fans alike. Shortly after Biggie's passing, two men emerged as key figures in managing the estate: Wayne Barrow and Mark Pitts. Both were seasoned industry veterans, deeply entrenched in the music business, with ties to Biggie's career long before his death. But their appointment wasn't driven by family loyalty. Instead, it was a calculated move by those seeking to navigate the commercial maze surrounding the estate. Barrow and Pitts were entrusted with broad authority, handling finances, controlling licensing, negotiating deals, and making creative decisions about unreleased material and branding. Over the years, their influence grew steadily, quietly consolidating control. They operated behind closed doors, far from the scrutiny of the press and fans who revered Biggie's name. No one questioned the arrangement. Valletta, though protective, trusted them, or at least accepted their role. She remained the face of the legacy publicly. But what they found in the vault years later revealed that the true control had long since moved behind closed doors. And the deeper they looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a change in management. It was the beginning of something way worse than anyone imagined. The timing no one could ignore. What they found in Biggie Smalls' estate after his mother's passing left fans speechless, and it was way worse than anyone could have predicted. March 2025 broke with an announcement that sent ripples through the music industry and the fan community alike. Valletta Wallace had passed away peacefully at the age of 78. Her departure marked the end of an era, the last direct family steward of the notorious B.I.G.'s legacy.
Children lost their father and lost my son. And you have other members of the family.
Yet just weeks later, something happened that sent shockwaves across the industry and raised red flags that couldn't be ignored. It wasn't just that a sale had happened, it was what had been sold and how fast it all went down. Reports surfaced that the entirety of Biggie's catalog had been sold, not just a handful of tracks or selective publishing rights. The deal encompassed everything: master recordings, publishing rights, unreleased music, branding, and even control over the use of his name and image were part of the deal. The buyer, Primary Wave, a powerful and aggressive music investment firm known for acquiring rights to iconic catalogs, including those of legends like Bob Marley and Prince. Industry insiders immediately estimated the deal's value at a staggering $100 to $150 million, but no official figures were released. And more importantly, there were no last statements from Valletta, just silence. The suddenness of the sale left many stunned. It wasn't just the magnitude or the buyer, it was the timing. The deal appeared to have been negotiated long before the public even knew Valletta was gravely ill. Insiders soon began whispering. This deal wasn't new. Negotiations had reportedly been underway for months, if not years, behind closed doors. As Valletta's health declined quietly in hospice care and her ability to oversee the estate faded, the final decision-making power appeared to shift elsewhere. What they found in the aftermath was a timeline that didn't add up. The sale seemed orchestrated long before her passing, raising unsettling questions. Had Valletta truly consented to this transaction? Or was she sidelined as the estate's true controllers finalized a lucrative exit? And most urgently, what did the sale mean for the millions of fans who believed the estate was a sacred trust held by Vicky's family? The timing felt too convenient, too strategic, and it cracked open a door the estate had long kept shut. Was Vicky's legacy still being protected? Or had it finally become just another business transaction? The questions kept piling up. Fans, journalists, and even fellow artists began demanding clarity. But the estate offered no public explanation, only silence. And as that silence deepened, one thing became clear. What they found in Vicky's estate after Valletta's death wasn't just shocking. It changed everything he thought they knew.
Go find him in the brig. If you see any sailors, shoot first. Then shoot second if they're still breathing.
The vault that should have never opened. What they found in Vicky's small safe wasn't just unexpected. It was hidden on purpose. The crime ring finalized to acquire the notorious DIG's entire catalog. They inherited more than rights and royalties. They inherited responsibility. And with it came access to a vault that had been sealed for over 2 decades. What lay inside was never meant to be public, and once opened, it became clear why it had been kept in the dark for so long. Buried beneath an unmarked office building, the climate-controlled vault looked more like something out of a Cold War thriller than a music archive. It hadn't been touched since the early 2000s. Inside, rows of filing cabinets, neatly stacked archival boxes, old-school tape reels, and the heavy scent of forgotten history. But this wasn't just memorabilia. This was the truth behind Biggie Small's estate, and it was way worse than anyone imagined. There were hundreds of master tapes, pristine analog reels, and fragile digital backups, capturing unreleased verses, alternate takes, and rare studio sessions. Demo reels and forgotten collaborations, raw and unfiltered, revealed a side of Biggie.
All right, go to the bridge. Network runs through point and center console.
Collections and passionate scribbles detailed the creative process behind some of hip-hop's most iconic songs. Financial Records chronicled the rise and fall of Bad Boy Records' golden era, deals, royalties, and the complex web of Biggie's business empire. Private journals offered glimpses into his personal reflections, struggles with fame, family, and the constant shadows of danger that loomed in the 90s rap scene. Intimate photographs and audio recordings, never before shared, added human layers to the legend. The record showed not just the wealth he generated, but where it all went, and who really benefited. And then came the locked cabinet, tightly secured and bolted to the concrete floor. Inside, enveloped in faded vanilla, marked "Retain privately internals only," was a collection of documents so sensitive that they had been physically separated from the music archives and hidden away like state secrets. The yellowed legal envelopes, fragile with age, contained papers that would soon unravel everything. Fans and historians thought they knew about Biggie's posthumous empire. These weren't royalty breakdowns or artist contracts. They were legal schematics designed to quietly shift power that had once belonged to family, power that had once been publicly championed by Valletta Wallace, power that now, according to the documents, had long since moved into different hands. What they found in Biggie's estate revealed a quiet restructuring, one that took place without fanfare, behind closed doors, and left the public narrative completely intact. But beneath that surface, a hidden blueprint for control, long in the making, and the most unsettling part, it had all been set in motion years before anyone even knew the vault existed.
Clifford is asshole.
The silent restructuring, the restricted envelopes revealed a web of estate management documents dating back to the immediate aftermath of Biggie's death in 1997 into 2002, a period conventionally assumed to have been dominated by the Wallace family's stewardship. But the truth lurking inside these papers was far more unsettling. Detailed contracts, many stamped and signed with flawless authenticity, disclosed the early and systematic transfer of Biggie's financial and creative rights to third parties, not family members or trusted advisors, but individuals and corporate entities linked directly to Wayne Barrow and Mark Pitts. These names, familiar in music industry circles, suddenly appeared as shadow architects, rewriting the rules of Biggie's legacy. Legal frameworks underpinning the estate were quietly overhauled. Profit participation percentages shifted in favor of these new overseers, often through fine print clauses disguised by complex legal jargon. Licensing agreements were restructured with ambiguous language that granted sweeping permissions for merchandising, image rights, and music usage, often without family input or awareness. These maneuvers were executed under the guise of legality, of paper, every signature and stamp wore an air of legitimacy. But beneath that veneer lay a calculated moral ambiguity, the erasure of Biggie's family from key financial decisions, the sidelining of his closest kin, and a betrayal of trust cloaked in confidentiality. More chillingly, no public disclosure, no audit report, no media notice ever acknowledged this shift. It wasn't hidden from auditors, nor regulators, but rather from those who had the most personal claim, the people Biggie had trusted in life, the family who had mourned and managed his memory. This silent restructuring had been a carefully guarded secret for over 2 decades, buried deep within an estate that had outwardly seemed intact and unified. Now, with the vault's contents exposed, the fragile myth of a family-controlled legacy began to crumble, exposing a hidden battle for control, influence, and profits. The vanishing will. What they found in Biggie's small estate was never supposed to be seen, because it told a very different story than the one fans were sold. Inside the restricted envelopes allegedly unearthed from the vault was a legal paper trail stretching from Biggie's death in 1997 through to the early 2000s, a time many believed was still under the firm guidance of his mother, Valletta Wallace. However, the truth hidden in those documents would reveal something far worse than anyone could have imagined. According to insiders, buried in the final section of that tightly locked cabinet was something even more horrible. Among the legal documents and internal memos was mentioned, never officially confirmed, but quietly cited by insiders, of a missing clause, believed to be part of a second draft or codicil to Biggie's original will. If legitimate, this amendment would have transferred full control of Biggie's intellectual property and estate to his children following Valletta Wallace's death. The original will was meticulous, assigning specific assets, from publishing rights to personal belongings to named individuals. It reflected a family-first legacy, a roadmap designed to safeguard Biggie's lineage and ensure his music and image would remain within trusted hands. But that plan may have been quietly erased. If this second clause ever existed, it has vanished. No notarized copy, no witness testimony, just a trail of references and internal correspondence alluding to its creation and its quiet disappearance. Whether it was lost, buried, or deliberately withheld remains unknown. But its absence has left a gaping legal and emotional void. Instead, probate records confirmed a different version than being filed. At first glance, this document appeared similar, yet a closer examination unveiled subtle but seismic changes. Key assets that had been explicitly allocated in the original were now ambiguously described or outright omitted. Beneficiaries who once held clear stakes were consolidated, often replaced by vague corporate entities or unnamed fiduciaries. Most alarmingly, the power dynamics embedded in this will shifted dramatically. Broad estate management rights were granted to external representatives, individuals with no familial ties, who suddenly gained sweeping authority over decisions involving Biggie's legacy, finances, and intellectual property. And then came the signature. Handwriting experts called in to analyze the signatures and annotations detected disturbing inconsistencies. Variations in pen pressure, stroke flow, and signature style suggested that at least one of the wills bore a forged signature, possibly a counterfeit mark replacing the true hand of the late rapper whose legacy was now up for sale. The implications were staggering. Had Biggie's final wishes been ignored, rewritten, erased? Which will was real? And who stood to gain from replacing one legacy with another? The missing millions. What they found in Biggie Smalls' estate wasn't just legal confusion. It was a financial